Hello and a very warm welcome to the BioSaver. And here we are set to make bio less boring and more fun. Starting with the ecology series, let's talk about the very basic unit that is ecosystem. Today, we'll focus on mainly two topics that is general features and organization of ecosystem. General features includes meaning and definition of ecosystem, why ecosystem is called as an open system, various types and examples of ecosystem, and what's the scope to study the ecosystem. Second, organization of ecosystem mainly includes two main topics, that is structure of ecosystem and function of ecosystem. But today we'll only focus about the structure of ecosystem, which includes biotic components and abiotic components. So let's get started. Meaning and definition of ecosystem. The word ecosystem is derived from a Greek word, two Greek words, that is eco and system. Eco means environment and system means interacting and independent complex. So an interacting and independent complex of environment is known as ecosystem. So what's the definition of ecosystem? In any geographical area, a biotic community lives in an abiotic environment which is called as biotop. A biotic means living and abiotic means non-living. So when a living community lives in a non-living community, that non-living community is called as biotop. This non-living community, that is biotop, provides material and energy to the living community which lives in it, that is which inhabiting in it. This shows that there is interaction between the biotic community and the abiotic community. Therefore, a biocommunity cannot live isolated from the biotop, which means that the abiotic community or biotic community both are interlinked with each other and cannot live without each other. So, the what is the definition is a biotic community and its biotop together form an system which is known as ecological system or ecosystem. This ecosystem word was first derived by scientist Tansley in 1935, but the concept was appeared much later. Ecosystem can also be defined as a structural and functional unit of biosphere which comprises of biotic community, that is living organism, and abiotic community, which means non-living environment that interacts by the means of food chains and chemical cycles. Here we saw that the biotic community and abiotic community interacts with each other and cannot live without each other. But how they interact? By the means of food chains and chemical cycle. And what that results into? That results into energy flow and biotic diversity and material cycling. That forms a stable system which is known as ecosystem. So ecosystem is a stable self-supporting system. I hope you are very clear with the definition. So let's talk about why ecosystem is called as an open system. Now what we saw is that the environment, that is non-living community, which we called it as biotop, is interlinked with the living community which we called as biotic community. Now here you can saw that you can see that it is a two-side arrow, means the biotic community benefits the environment, that is biotop, and non-living community also benefits the biotic community. So it is a two-way arrow, which means that which means that it is an open system, means it receives the thing and it also gives the thing. And many biotic community joins and interacts with each other, it forms an another biotic community. So this forms a stable self-supporting system which we known as an ecosystem. I already talked about why ecosystem is called as an open system. That ecosystem is not an isolated or closed unit as it is often held. Instead, it is an open system, which means that materials invariably move from one system to another system. For example, leaves are blown from a forest to lake. So here leaves firstly were in terrestrial system and now it has moved to the lake, which means aquatic ecosystem. So the transfer of material invariably moves from one system to another system. Another example is that frog move from a pond onto the land. We know that frog lives both in aquatic ecosystem and terrestrial ecosystem, so it keeps moving from one system to another system. So this is another example that ecosystem is an open system, and birds also migrate between their summer and the winter homes. Now let's talk about the various types and their examples of ecosystem. Ecosystem is mainly classified into on the basis of three topics, that is, first is nature, second is duration, and the third one is size. We'll look into each topic in brief. So on the basis of nature, ecosystem is classified into two types, that is natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem. Natural ecosystem, which means that the system which is formed without the interaction of human and very naturally, such an ecosystem is known as a natural ecosystem. For example, a pond, a lake, a meadow or a desert. All these things are made without the interaction of human beings or any other living beings. So such an ecosystem formed is known as a natural ecosystem. So then what is artificial ecosystem? So artificial ecosystem is fully created and maintained by human beings without any participation of natural thing. It is fully made and created by the human being. So such an ecosystem is known as an artificial ecosystem, and their example includes flower bed, kitchen garden, an aquarium, pot of house plants. All these things are created and also maintained by the human beings. So such an ecosystem is known as an artificial ecosystem. Now let's talk about on the basis of duration, ecosystem is classified into further two main types, that is temporary ecosystem and permanent ecosystem. Temporary ecosystem, the word itself says that it is very short lived and can may be natural or man made. It's not necessary that the only man made ecosystems are temporary ecosystem. No, even the natural ecosystem can also be temporary ecosystem. For example, a rain fed pond. Now rain is what actually the natural thing, and the ecosystem made and the pond made by rain feeding is a type of natural ecosystem, but that is very temporary because the rain does not stays for like always. So rain-fed pond is a type of temporary ecosystem, but it is a natural ecosystem too. And another example is laboratory culture of protozoan. Now this is artificial ecosystem, but it is also temporary ecosystem because the culture made in the laboratory is created and both maintained by the human beings. So such an ecosystem is artificial ecosystem too and temporary ecosystem too. Another one is permanent ecosystem. Permanent ecosystem, the word itself says that it is self-supporting natural ecosystem which maintain itself for relatively longer duration compared to the temporary ecosystem. Now this permanent ecosystem is only the natural ecosystem. It's not like that it can be natural and artificial both. No, it cannot be. Why it cannot be artificial ecosystem? Because at some or the other point the human being will do like knowingly or unknowingly will do some mistake and it will be like finished or over. So it cannot be permanent. So that's why permanent ecosystem is only belongs to the natural ecosystem, and it is the system which is self-supporting and maintain itself for relatively longer period of time. For example, a forest or a lake. Now, on the basis of size, ecosystem is again classified into two main types, that is small ecosystem, which we can also say as micro ecosystem, for example a flower pot or side understone, and large ecosystem, which we can also say as macro ecosystem or mega ecosystem, and the example includes a ocean or a forest. Now I hope you are very much clear with the types of ecosystem, because they are very much basic. Ecosystem is also classified on further other bases also, but that is on the higher level. This is what is on the very basic level. So now, why we are studying the ecosystem? We need to know that why we are doing this work. So let's talk about the scope of study of ecosystem. The scope of study of ecosystem is mainly about learning about the four main things. What are they? Let's see that. Interaction between the organism and the environment. We need to learn that with with which things we are connected and how they are benefiting us. So ecosystem, the study of ecosystem helps us in learning that interaction between the organism and the environment. Now the interaction is being done, then what matter is being transferred from one system to another system can be learned by the cycling of matter. So again the study of ecosystem helps us in doing that. And if the matter is being transferred from one system to another system, then what's the benefit of transferring those matter from one system to another system can be known by the flow of energy. So the flow of energy through it can also be studied by the can also be known by the study of ecosystem. And the fourth one is nutritive relationship between the organism, that can also be understood by the study of ecosystem. So study of ecosystem mainly helps us in knowing the interaction between the organism and the environment, and how they are transferring the matter and how they are benefiting each other. So basically the study of ecosystem is related to that. Now, organization of ecosystem. Any system needs organization to run properly. Ecosystem is also a kind of self-supporting system. It also needs to be organized. So let's see that how the ecosystem is organized. To sustain itself and last indefinitely, I already said that any system needs organization to last indefinitely. So to sustain itself and last indefinitely, an ecosystem must have resources for supporting its resident organism and for the disposal of their waste. Ecosystem have mechanism for both the requirements. Now how all these requirements are being fulfilled, let's talk about that. So very first thing, what's the structure of ecosystem? The structure of ecosystem depends upon following components. Mainly the ecosystem comprises of following components. Species diversity means there is large diversity in the kinds of species present in the ecosystem. Species composition, which means in which quantity the particular species has been present in the ecosystem. And the third one is stratification. Stratification helps us in knowing where the particular species is being placed. So basically all these three things is being present in the structure of ecosystem. I already said that organization of ecosystem includes two main parts, that is structure of ecosystem and functions of ecosystem. So what function of ecosystem includes? The function of ecosystem includes productivity, decomposition, energy flow, food chain with food web, and mineral cycling. Today we'll only focus on the structure of ecosystem. So let's get started. Structure of ecosystem. So basically, structure of ecosystem includes various components, and they are basically categorized into two parts: abiotic and biotic. Abiotic means non-living components, that is inorganic nutrients, organic debris, soil, air, water, temperature, gases, precipitation, and mountains and slopes. So you must be thinking that if all these things are abiotic, then why are they placed apart from each other into different columns? So all these are different kind of factors. The inorganic nutrients, organic debris, and soil are edific factors. Air, water, temperature, gases, all are the climatic factors, and mountain slope are the topographic factors. So that's why they are placed apart from each other, though they belong to the same group, that is abiotic components. Now let's see what are the biotic components. So biotic component includes three types of organisms: producers, consumers, and decomposers. Producers are also called as transducers, consumers, and the third one is decomposers, and they are also known as micro-consumers or saprotrophs or scavengers. So let's talk about each of these components in detail. So we already know that the structure of ecosystem deal with the study of number, kinds, and distribution of various type of ecosystem. That means study of numbers means species diversity, kinds means species organization, and distribution of means the stratification. Sorry, of biotic and abiotic components, that is temperature, water, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, minerals, etc. components. So first, let's talk about the biotic components. Biotic components are the living components that is plants, animals, and microorganisms, and they constitute the biotic community of the ecosystem. So what are producers? Producers are the name itself says that they produce something. So the producers, we know that the basic producers are plants or the organism which contains chlorophyll. So the green photosynthetic organism that interact solar energy through chlorophyll to form the organic food from the inorganic raw material are called as producers. They are also known as autotrophs. Now why they are also called as autotrophs? So auto means self and trophs means producing. So they are self producers, and that's why they are known as autotrophs. They are also called as transducers because they change the radiant energy into the chemical energy. Now, organic substances are utilized for building up their bodies and for releasing energy required for various metabolic and physiological activities. Means the producers utilize or use organic substances to build up their body and to release energy for the metabolic and physiological activities. Now the second component of the biotic community is consumers. Consumers are the one, the name itself says that they consume something. So animals that are not capable of making their own food but feed upon other organisms or their parts are called as consumers. They are also called as heterotrophs because they are the hetero means not self-depending, and trophs means organism, so they are the one who depend on other organism for their survival. They are also known as phagotrophs because they ingest solid food materials. They are basically of two types: herbivorous and carnivorous. Herbivorous are the one which obtain their food directly from the plants, and they are called as primary consumers because they are the one which like primarily consumes for food from the producers, so they are known as primary consumer. The examples include cattle, deer, goat, mouse, grasshoppers. These all are primary consumers in the terrestrial ecosystem, while crustaceans, mollusks and protozoans are primary consumers in the aquatic ecosystem. Now this shows that the various ecosystem have their various consumers, producers and decomposers, which we will learn about in detail in the further lectures. Now what are carnivores? So carnivorous feed upon the herbivorous. Herbivorous were feeding upon the producers, that is plants, and carnivorous are feeding upon the herbivorous. So they are the one who feed upon herbivorous, and that's why they are known as secondary consumers. The Now there are some carnivorous which don't eat herbivorous but the secondary consumers, and those secondary the one who are consuming secondary consumers are called as tertiary consumers. So you know that there is a chain linked over every ecosystem, means that herbivorous, that is primary consumers, are dependent over the herbivorous, the secondary consumers are dependent on the primary and sorry, the tertiary consumers are dependent on the secondary consumer. Now there are some other organism higher than that, and they are called as top carnivorous. Who are the top carnivorous? Some carnivorous eaten up by stronger and larger carnivorous, and this stronger and larger carnivorous are called as top carnivorous. Now these top carnivorous are that much strong that they never become prey. Means they always remain predator. Means predator means the one who kills. So they never become prey. I mean, they are not eaten up or killed by any other organism surviving on the earth. They remain as predators only, and that's why they are called as top carnivorous. Understood? The third component of the biotic community of the ecosystem is decomposers. Now, what are decomposers? Saprophytic microorganisms deriving their food material from organic matter present in the dead remains of plants and animals are called as decomposers. Sorry. So the organisms, so they are basically the microorganisms, and they derive food material from the organic debris or material present in the soil. Complex means, which means that complex organic substances are transferred into the simple ones by the help of these decomposers. These decomposers, see the name itself says that they do decomposition. Composition को वो लोग तोड़ते हैं, de करते हैं, like they break the composition, so they convert complex organic substances into the simpler one. Now the part of digested organic matter is assimilated by the microorganism. While decomposing the complex organic substances, some part of it is digested by them and the rest is broken down into the simple organic inorganic compound. What they Even though they are microorganisms, they are very much important for the ecosystem because they bring about the cyclic exchange between the biotic community and the abiotic community, and they are also called as reducers because they actually reduce the population on the earth. So I hope you are clear with all the three components of the biotic community of ecosystem. Now there are some other organisms other than these three components, and what are they? Let's talk about that. They are scavengers, detrivorous and parasites. What are parasites? Parasites belong to diverse group, that is bacteria, fungi, protozoans, worms, etc. Detrivorous are the ones which feed on detritus, which means dead remains, for example termites and earthworm. They are very helpful in the quick removal of the dead bodies. Third one is scavengers. Scavengers are the animals that feed on the dead or injured animals, and they clean the earth of organic garbages. For example, carrion, marabou storks, crow, vulture. Now, vulture is the organism which is called as full-time scavenger. Why? Because all these carrions, crow and marabou storks are the ones which feed upon detritus, parasites and other organisms too, and scavengers also. But the vulture is the one which only depends on the injured animals and they clean the earth. So that's why they are called as full-time scavengers, which means that vulture is doing his full-time job and while these crows and carrions are on their part-time jobs. Funny, isn't it? Now, in the structure of ecosystem, we talked about the species composition, species diversity. Now, it's time to learn that where are the species placed into the ecosystem. So will that's about the stratification. So stratification is represents the vertical zonation in the community, which means that there is like layers present in the community where are this species, different types of species present. So that will guide us about the place or the position of the species present in the ecosystem. For example, in grassland community there is a subterranean floor containing basal portion of the vegetation. However, stratification in a forest community is the most complicated, whereas many as 5 to 7 vertical subdivisions may be recognized. Means the means the forest community has various species. The species diversity is very high, the species composition is very high, so obviously there will be high level of differentiation between the organism, and so that's why there are various subdivisions in the or the zonation in the forest community, and they are subterranean forest floor, herbaceous vegetation, shrubs and trees. So stratification basically shows about the position of the place where the species are placed into the ecosystem. So that's it for today. I hope I made your ecosystem quite interesting today and learn about the functions of ecosystem in the next class. Till then, bye bye. See you. Take care.